Hi, I'm Ash Moria from Wired Reach. If you've ever had to share a large file with someone, you know that sharing files today is much harder than it needs to be. Email can't handle files over a certain size, FTP is too difficult to use, and with online storage services, you end up spending a lot of time uploading files back and forth. BoxCloud solves this problem by letting you share files right from the desktop where you work, so there's never any uploading, emailing, or FTPing. Let me show you how this works. So I have a 9 megabyte Photoshop file here that I need to share with my client. This file is too big to fit in an email, and so I'm going to use BoxCloud instead, which I have running here on this machine. The first thing I need to do is add my client as a contact in BoxCloud. BoxCloud integrates with my local address book, so it makes it very easy for me to add the people I already know. Once my client is added, I then click Share a File and select the Photoshop file that's sitting on my desktop. I can optionally provide a brief description and message to go along with my file. Down below, I'm going to choose to version this file because I anticipate multiple revisions, and I'd like to be notified when my client views this file so I know he got it. Since files aren't uploaded anywhere, sharing files with BoxCloud is pretty instantaneous, taking seconds versus minutes or hours to complete. And there, this file is shared. Let's pretend to be the client now. He should have received an email message from me, so let's take a look. The email message tells him about the file I'm sharing and provides him with a web link. Clicking on this link launches a browser window from where he can access my file. It's important to point out that he does not need BoxCloud or any special software to do this. All he needs is a standard web browser and an internet connection. On the page, there's a download link which lets him download this file directly from my machine. In addition, we also provide a full-page preview that lets him review the file before downloading, which saves him time. And sure enough, after reviewing, he's found a couple of changes he'd like me to make. He'd like me to shorten the tagline on this brochure and align the text beneath it. Rather than trying to describe changes like these in an email, which can sometimes be challenging to do, he can instead use the built-in visual markup tool to highlight exactly what he'd like me to change. And with that done, let's go back to being me again. I can open the same preview page from my local BoxCloud application, where I can review the requests my client has made. I'm going to go ahead and address these changes, but I'd first like to leave him a quick message letting him know that I'm working on them. And then I'm going to use Photoshop to shorten the tagline to something I think he'll like. And then I'm going to align the text so it lines up with the tagline. And then I save this file. Since I chose to version my file earlier, BoxCloud keeps track of any updates I make and lets me publish my changes when I'm ready. Now, when I refresh my preview page, you'll notice an option in the right-hand column which lets me publish my new changes. As before, I can provide a brief description and message to go along with this update. This should take a few seconds to complete, and I'll end up with version 2 of this file. BoxCloud keeps each of my versions separated so that I can always go back to the previous version if I need to. Alright, let's pretend to be the client one last time. He should have received another email message from me, this time pointing him to version 2 of the file. As before, clicking on the web link will launch a preview page from where he can review and download my latest changes. And while this page loads, let's summarize what we have done. Using BoxCloud, I was able to share a large file with my client, get his feedback, and incorporate this feedback in a new version, all without having to muck around with FTP or wait on long uploads. In fact, I didn't even have to change how I work. I was able to keep my file on my desktop and continue working on it as I've always done, while my client was able to download and review my updates right from my desktop using just a web browser. The seamless integration of web and desktop is really the magic behind BoxCloud. BoxCloud came out of beta earlier this year and is already being used by thousands of people to share files the easy way. For more information, please visit boxcloud.com. Thank you very much for your time.